Hello, welcome. In this lecture, let us discuss about once only controller in JMeter. The once only controller in JMeter ensures that samplers or logic controllers under it are executed only once per thread, regardless of number of iterations in the thread group. Irrespective of how many iterations are there, it will execute only once per thread. If there is only one thread and there are 10 iterations, then it will execute only once. If there are two threads and then there are 10 iterations, then it will execute only two times. It executes once per thread. Let us understand how once only controller works. The once only controller executes its child element only in the first iteration of each thread. It executes in the first iteration of each thread. After first iteration, those child elements are skipped, but other elements outside once only controller continue to execute as per the test plan. Whichever sampler is inside the once only controller will execute in the first iteration and it will be skipped for remaining iteration. If any element is outside once only controller, that will execute every iteration. Let us understand why use the once only controller. To handle a task like login, initialization or setup, that should happen only once per thread. For example, you want to log into a site and then you want to browse the different products, right? Then you need to do only once the login. Then you can browse different products on the shopping website. In that kind of situations, you can use once only controller. The once only controller will help to prevent the redundant operations like repeated login attempts or setup actions. Suppose you want to log in and browse different products on an e-commerce website, then you do not need to log in repeatedly for each product that you are browsing. You log in only one time and then you can do your action. Now let us understand the once only controller with the example scenario. Let us say you are testing an online shopping website and each user need to log in only once. After logging in, you can browse the different products in each iteration. Login will happen only once, and browsing a product, you can do different product browsing in each iteration. Now let me open the JMeter and let us practically understand how to use once only controller. Sh space jmeter.sh. Let us open the JMeter. Okay. Now I will add one thread group here and I will add a once only controller here. Right. Under this, I can add a sampler. I will call it as login. Right. And outside the login, you can add a different sampler. Let us say browse products. Right. Login is inside once only controller, browse product is outside once only controller. And here there is only one thread. Let us say I want to run it in 10 loops. And I will also add a listener here to view the result. Now what will happen is the login, which is inside once only controller, should execute only once. The browse product will execute 10 times because there is a 10 different loop here. So let us fill in the details here first. https www.blazedemo.com. Similarly, https blazedemo.com. Okay, I have filled in some sample website details. Let us run and verify how it works. You can observe here login is executed only once because it is inside the once only controller. The browse product is executed 10 times here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because we have given 10 loops here. But once only controller will execute only in the first loop. First loop it executed and remaining loops it will be skipped. Because we have mentioned it inside once only controller. It means execute only once per thread. Suppose I give a number of threads equal to 2 here. Then this login will execute 2 times because it will execute once per thread. Right? Let me clear and run again here. Let us verify. You can see here login is executing 1 times per thread. we have provided 2 threads, that is why it executed 2 times, and browse product will execute 20 times here because we have specified loop 10, number of threads 2. It means 10 into 2, 20 times it will execute browse product here, right? And login executed 2 times, that is once per each thread. This is how once only controller works. Now let us practically understand using the JPET store website that we used earlier. Now let us practically understand how you can use once only controller for testing this particular website JPET store that we have discussed earlier. Now what we can do is we can log in here first, and then user might be browsing different products like fish, dog, reptile, cats, birds, right? User can browse any product here once you log in, right? So what we can do is, for login we will put under once only controller. For browsing of these products we will use it outside of once only controller. Now let me record the script using JMeter. Let us record the script. We'll say login and browse, right? Let us start recording now. So click on sign in, provide the login details and click on login, and then I will browse one product. Okay, let us stop this recording and let us download this recording now. We will download the JMX file which we will be using in the JMeter. Okay, it is downloaded now. Now we have recorded the script for JPET store. Let me open the recorded script now in JMeter. Login and browse. So if you see here, so if you observe here, this is these two are for login. It means open the URL and login here, right? This one you can do only once. Open URL and here login, and then browse. This one is browse the product. What we will do is we will do opening a URL and login only once, and here we will browse different products. We will parameterize this browse using data from the CSV file. I will add one more thread group now. I will add once only controller here. Logic controller, once only controller, and opening a URL and login we will be doing only once, right? I will copy that under once only controller. Browse we will run in each loop for different products. I will copy this outside of once only controller, and this thread group we can disable now, no longer needed. We will use this thread group that we have created. Now what I will do is, here I want to browse different products, right? We have only browsed one product here, fish. What I will do is I will add a CSV dataset config here. Add config element CSV dataset config, and I have created the CSV file with the different data to be browsed. Fish, dog, reptile, cats, birds. You can see here fish, dog, reptile, cat, bird, right? We will use the data from this CSV file to browse different products. Here I will browse the file name that contains the data, right? File encoding you will leave it. Here variable name we will call it as product name. So ignore the first line, no need to ignore because our first line is also containing the data here, and comma delimited we will leave it as recycle at the end of the file. Means if it once reaches this last item, it will start looping again from the first element. So we will keep it true itself. Recycle on end of file means once it reaches the last element here in the file, it will start again from the first element. We will keep it as true. Stop the thread on EOF. We will keep it as it is, false. And now what we will do is we will use this variable name in this request for parameterizing this value. It means what will happen now is we have given a variable name here. For each loop it will take a different product from this file, CSV file. First loop it will run fish, second dog, reptile, cat, bird, so on, right? I will save this test plan now. I will add one listener here to view the result. Now let us run and verify how it works. So open URL, login, and now it will browse the product. So now it is browsing only one product here, what fish it has browsed, because we have given only one loop here. I will give 5 loops now. It should run for these 5 elements, right? Let me clear this and let us run the script again. Open URL and login. It should run only once because it is inside the once only controller. Now you can observe here, open URL and login we have placed under once only controller, so it is running only once per thread because here we have only one thread. And browse, it is running 5 times, 1 2 3 4 5, because there are 5 loops here, right? And each loop it is running for different product. You can observe here fish, it is running for fish, and here it is running for dogs, here it is running for reptiles, here it is running for cats, and here it is running for birds. It means for each loop it is taking one item from here, right? If let us say I will run it for 10 loops, then what will happen is once it reaches the end of this file, it will start again from here. Let me clear this and let us run and observe the result. Now you can observe here, browse is running 10 times because we have given 10 loops here and there is only one thread. That is why open URL and login is executing only once because it is inside the once only controller. If I increase the number of thread equal to 2, what will happen is open URL and login will run 2 times and browse will run 20 times because each thread will run for 10 loops. There are 2 threads, hence there will be 20 times browse, right? Here you can observe, here fish, for the first time it is browsing. After that again 6th iteration, here you can see again it is browsing a fish here because it is already reached the end of the file and it will start again from the first item, right? Now I have increased the number of threads equal to 2. It means it should run open URL and login 2 times. Let us clear and rerun again and observe the result. You can observe here open URL and login is running 2 times here because number of threads equal to 2, and browse will run for 20 times because 2 threads each running 10 times, that will be 20. In this way you can use once only controller whenever you want to run a certain request like login only once, but remaining requests you want to run multiple times. For example, here in each iteration we are browsing a different product like fish, dog, cat, reptile, right? We do not need to log in again and again for browsing different product, right? In this kind of scenario you can use once only controller. I will attach this test plan in the resource section. Thank you for watching.